So you have met your gremlin. This is a big step in terms of awareness, of growing your awareness and growing your getting in touch with reality and in your path to adulthood. So as you're getting to know your gremlin, as you're starting to notice the different things that come up and the this smiling, this unconscious smiling, this sideways kind of behavior, these things that come up in the space of the relating that create a sidetrack, kind of like go sideways, these things that are hiding away, you start noticing more of your gremlin. And this is fantastic. This is really an ecstatic and archetypal journey of getting to know this part of yourself that is the ruler of the underworld or the king or the queen of the underworld. And it's this part that does not give a shit. It doesn't give a fuck. It just comes in and destroys the space for whatever fucking reason. And not just for whatever fucking reason, it is for your survival so that you can survive. It does not give a shit about anybody else other than you surviving. And this is great. The first distinction that I want to share with you now that you have met your gremlin is that your gremlin is neither good or bad. It's not positive or negative or good or evil. Really, it's just your gremlin is just like a knife, and it really depends on the jobs that you give your gremlin to. Uh, what do you use your gremlin for? So as you're navigating this and you're seeing these things that are fucking bizarre and unthinkable and a borderline evil or even evil, you see, stay with this distinction that your gremlin is not good or bad. It really is doing what you're telling him to do, is doing what the job that you assign him to do. And from this place you start creating this sense of relating. So you start practicing this skill of neutral self-observation, where you can see yourself from a place where it's not right or wrong, where you can see the behavior and notice it and even feel it and be heartbroken about it. And you have this sense that there is no stories about it. You're not creating more low drama about it. You're not making yourself a victim of it or putting yourself into this power dynamic where you're a poor little person. But you can have this neutral self-observation, observing yourself from this neutral point. And this start creating a gap in between hiding your gremlin or the gremlin going unconscious and the gremlin coming out, you gaining more visibility about your gremlin. In modern culture, there is no distinction about gremlin. We essentially are there is a distinctions like about Satan or demons and stuff like that, but even that is kind of like on the world in the occult knowledge and woo woo kind of things. But this part is very real, as you can see, as you have already met it and you have sensed this part. And you can start gaining developing your relationship with this part. For most of my life, in my relationship with my gremlin, I was hiding it. Like I was like stuffing it down, putting it away, and pretending, like really convincing myself and talking myself that I don't have a gremlin, that I don't have an underworld, and is that everybody else has an underworld, but I don't have an underworld. I am a good boy. And that was my strategy of relating with my gremlin. That in my spaces, my relating space, I will be like this serious kind of like stray guy, and my gremlin is kind of like stuffed down there. and I would only let it out when I will drink alcohol, or when I will get stoned, and or maybe like in some friendships where that will be allowed. But most of the time, especially more into my adulthood, I really learned to put it away and to stuff it down. You're bad gremlin, stay down there. And it was energetically that, and it came down as this self-punishment, like I am just trying to cover up so much about my the who my gremlin is really, what my gremlin really is. So as you're getting to get more closer to this part of you, it really is that the gremlin is not good or bad, and it's not just there for your survival. This is the first task that you initiated your gremlin with in your childhood. So when you were a child, there was a difficult situation, probably very young. uh, for me, it happened when I was 3 months old. It could even happen in the womb space when you're in the mother's womb. And is when you ask the gremlin to help you. You ask the gremlin at that time to help you survive. You ask him to rescue you, to save you, and the gremlin says yes. It's an symbiotic agreement, and the gremlin comes and is essentially says stays there for the rest of your life. So another name for the gremlin that I use is your lifelong companion, because that entity, that force that you are essentially born with, it stays with you for the rest of your life. So you have been relating with your gremlin in certain ways since young age, and modern culture didn't give you the possibility of initiating your gremlin. It just kept going on, gremlin on the ground, gremlin hiding, gremlin avoiding, going sideways, creating confusion, creating resentments. By the way, resentment is one of the gremlin's favorite food, which comes from expectations. Having expectations and having broken expectations create resentment, and the gremlin just loves this. It just loves it. It eats it up, and essentially the gremlin is this force that puts you on a pause, on a timeout, where you don't have to take responsibility for the world, and you can just keep avoiding. And this is this is why it takes that adult part of yourself to start coming out, to create something different in your life. So as you're getting to know your gremlin more, work from this space of neutral observation. And one of the first tasks that you can do is to talk to your gremlin. Really, like, take a moment right now. You can look beside you, or you can scan energetically where it is, and you can say, "Hello, gremlin." And then you wait. You really communicate from your adult self saying, "Hello, gremlin." And this might be at the first time, like talking to a plant. When you first start talking to a plant, the plant might not respond because it's not used to mm, having communication in this way. And then you can start developing that relationship. This is a year's commitment of recreating or reconstructing your relationship with your gremlin, so that the gremlin doesn't come into your relating spaces and starts eating up the space. Because this is what the gremlin does. It has gremlin food, which is the creating, eating up the space, cre- creating these low dramas, what we call low drama, creating these roles of being victim, or rescuing, or persecuting others, blaming others, feeling a victim of being persecuted. This is a whole dynamic that the gremlin operates in, and and you can start noticing all of these different parts. So the task for you is to start noticing how the gremlin shows up in for you, and uh, there is spaces where you can go and transform your relationship with your gremlin. And before you can get there, you need to start this process of observing your gremlin, noticing when you are creating resentment, noticing when you are avoiding connecting with your partner, noticing when you are going on about your stories, creating blame or blaming others, or blaming the world, or blaming money, or even yourself, where you're like hitting yourself, where you're saying, I suck, I'm not good enough, I'm crazy, I shouldn't even be alive. This is all signs that the gremlin is eating up the space, or that is feeding, and it's also it's doing its job that you gave him or her. So these I'm saying like all of these different things so you can get a perspective from the different parts where you can start noticing your gremlin and working with your gremlin, and start asking for its name, asking for his name. What's your name? And write it down, what comes up. This is a I'm giving you like some next steps of initiation of, now that you have met this force, this is how you can start reconstructing your relationship with it. The next biggest task is for you to make a list of 50 gremlin foods. You can start keeping a journal, or keeping somewhere the notes of what are your gremlin foods. How is your gremlin eating up the space? Uh, what is happening when you're going in front of the fridge and you're finding yourself standing in front of the fridge looking for food? What's happening when you're realizing that you have a cigarette in your mouth and you're smoking? So these are all signs that the gremlin is feeding, and signs that you can like write it down, like, oh, I'm eating chocolate in the middle of the night, or I just woke up at 2 a.m. and I'm eating uh, cereal with milk. um, I spend 3 hours scrolling down in the screen watching social media. All of these things, they could be signs that start giving you a hint about your gremlin eating habits. And this will be the first step for meeting your gremlin. So welcome to this space, welcome to your gremlin, welcome to your being, and welcome into this new space of stepping into more of your adulthood, more awareness. And there is lots of resources out there, there is teams, so it's not like you're by yourself. And there is very few spaces in the mainstream sphere that really work with this much clarity about the gremlin. There is people that work with books or theoretical things, but there is very few spaces outside of possibility management that handle the gremlin in this way, with clarity, with a desire to relate, with a desire to transform and heal and evolve together. And and there is a lot of spaces where you can bring in your edge, you can bring in your pain, and start working with this amazing force of nonlinear possibility that lives inside of you. So that instead of repressing it and pushing it down, or letting it run your life back and forward, or both, because it happens that it's both, you repress it and then it comes out um, non-linearly, or when the least you expected it, it just takes over. You can start doing this journey together with other people and getting clear, getting to grow up your capacity to talk with your gremlin, to give a new assignment to your gremlin, to renegotiate your agreements with your gremlin, to give your gremlin new tasks that are not just mere survival and destroying of the spaces. So that's it for this video. Thank you for watching, and I wish you good luck with your gremlin journey and transformation. Bye for now.